What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on our 280 SE LS3 swap Mercedes Benz. Last week you saw us get a lot of components installed, including the suspension, the engine and transmission, as well as some of the engine wiring already going inside the car. So next thing we're going to do is start mounting some of these components. Went ahead and started plugging all the connectors in so I can figure out exactly where the harness is going to want to live. I've already got these two mounting tabs bolted onto the cylinder heads, so this is going to be the final resting place for the harness. With that said, all the lengths are already predetermined, and you can see we've kind of got this laid out where the fuse panel and the ECU are going to land. We're going to mount them right here in this location, just in front of the fender well. I'm going to try to mount the box up high on this weird curved surface here. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm also going to mount the ECU right down here. So I'll make a small bracket, mount that. Then once we're done with that, we'll move on to mounting the fuse panel. So I designed a small pattern, cut it out on the plasma, and then went ahead and welded some fasteners on the back side so we can keep the reticle still hot from welding. We're going to go ahead and knock this guy up, test fit everything, make sure it's all good, and then we'll move on to getting that relay box mounted. All right, we're making moves on the engine bay of the LS swap Mercedes Benz. Like I mentioned before, we're finalizing all the components to get this thing up and running. Our connecting crew's ECU and fuse and relay panel is completely mounted. We have all the wiring harness wired to it. Dave's working on our power supply or power junction area down here right now. Hi. Yellow. We can get power to everything. Our power wires for our starter and our relay box from our junction here that's going through the firewall via a bulkhead onto the inside. All the plumbing for brake booster is completed. The next thing that I'm going to work on is getting our ignition coils onto the engine. We have a set of Holley valve covers that we're going to install on here, and they are a tall style and they have covers for the coils. So this is the base valve cover, and then you mount your coils directly to the top, and then they have this beauty cover to go over top of that to kind of clean up the engine bay. So I'm gonna pull the originals off. Also got new gaskets, so we'll get those all installed. So hopefully we'll have this thing ready to fire up for you guys in just a little bit. All right, we've got the Holley two-piece valve covers started. We've got the lower main piece on. I've got a set of OEM coils here that we're going to install as well. Valve covers from Holley come with the spacers needed, as well as the hardware to bolt them down, which is pretty awesome. I don't have to go run around for that. We'll get those installed, and then we'll finally put on the covers here, and we'll be done with that install.
All right, Andrew is moving along with the wiring on the Mercedes build, which means is getting close to starting this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and work on our intake. So we got some 4-inch aluminum pipe over here and a nice vibrant filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing up, weld it together, get it done. we've got our 4-inch aluminum intake pipe all welded together. Next step is going to be cutting out our bung for our mass airflow sensor. Got it marked right here. So I'm going to start by drilling 2 holes here using my body saw. I'll cut that little slot out in the middle. And then I'm going to turn this over to Dave and let him weld it, because as you guys see, welding aluminum is not my specialty. So I'm going to pass this over to Dave, let him weld that on, make it nice. So after I do that, we should be pretty much done with it. All right, with all the work going on in the Mercedes, it's time to jump into the interior of this thing. We already went ahead and pulled our gauge bezel off of our dash unit. Yesterday I disassembled it. Did it with this multi-saw tool. This thing works pretty good. This thing was pretty beat up, so I said, frick it, let's go for it. See what we need to do to try to make this brand new power tune digital gauge cluster fit inside this thing and kind of look stockish. So like I said, I went ahead and cut this thing apart. And being that it is a 1984, it wasn't an awesome surgery, so our little bezel piece broke. I probably could fix that. This thing was shot anyway, so that's off. I don't think we need that. Then I went ahead and cleaned this up, kind of getting it ready. So I got a template piece here, which is gonna be our new sheet of metal that's gonna slip inside, and then we're gonna make our digital gauge cluster kind of recessed inside of that metal panel. And then we'll see what we can't do with our bezel to try to get that thing back together, get all this painted, make it look nice. So let's get to it. We have our backing plate here, which you're going to bolt or screw your gauge into that piece right here, and then it's going to get welded onto the back of our bezel. And then basically you're just going to slip your gauge in, bolt it in through the back. And I'm still really trying to come up with a good way to mount our piece into our actual Mercedes bezel. I think I could probably use some seam sealer and dab it underneath on the sections that I left, like here and here. And then once when I flip it over, I'll be able to get a nice bead of seam sealer around here and the top and on these edges right here. I think that will hold it nice and solid. But before I go doing any of that, I'm gonna have to do some more cleaning up on this, so that way this top piece right here is still visible. I started sanding it down a little to get rid of these, I don't even know what they are, pop marks. But I'm gonna have to be getting at some of this by hand. That way when we go painting everything, it's gonna look nice and finished. But I got all my components fabricated, ready to go. So we'll go ahead and stick this puppy to the side. We'll work on our Mercedes bezel a little bit, get that ready, and then we'll be able to finalize this. Get in that dash and see how pretty it looks. All right, we got our new backing plate mounted into our bezel piece here. We also have our actual bezel glued back together. And as you see, once it's on, it's gonna cut off 1/4 of our screen here. So we're gonna have to modify that as well. I already marked 2 points here and here where they're gonna need to be cut off. So we'll have to cut this and probably try to kind of add some metal back into this and try to finish this off correctly. So, metal into plastic with some seam sealer should get us through. So let's see what we can come up with. We just got our bezel attached to the other bezel on top of the bezel. We got that seam sealed on. It's pretty sturdy. I do have these 2 cracks I still have to mess with. A little Bondo will probably fix that. I made this little cover piece that's gonna just kind of clip on here, and that's gonna get seam sealed on as well. And just in, hot off the press, these little LED indicator lights. So we're gonna add 2 flashing turn signal indicators left and right, here and here. And we're gonna go ahead and throw on a check engine light and a high beam light. Once this is all on, gets seam sealed on, I'll have a little body work to do where my metal meets my plastic part of the bezel, and that should wrap it up. We got our LED digital gauge cluster, a autometer clock, and an autometer fuel level gauge on the right side. So we have everything that you're going to need to make sure all your vitals are on point for the car. So now let's just get this thing done, slap it in, and let's roll.
All right, getting there. Almost ready to get this thing started up. Dave is putting the PowerTune digital screen inside of the instrument housing. I'm over here putting our intake tube. This thing's all finalized and painted up. I just have to install a MAP sensor into it and get our filter and our silicone couplers.
All right, we've got the dash that Mikey made put back into the car with our screen mounted in, and it's all lit up. As you can see, we are ready to go. We are missing these gauges, but we have all the information for, again, our first start on our screen.
We've got our freshly coated intake pipe installed with a MAP sensor plugged in. So we should have everything we need. All the fluids are in it. Battery's hooked up. It's time to go.
The data that it had.
No. I didn't even hear it turn on that time.
The pump's priming, but we're not getting fuel up front. All good. Pumping fuel, for sure, out of this port.
Okay.
That goes into the inlet of our filter regulator.
Engine wouldn't start. We don't have fuel pressure. Yeah, so we came to the back here, checked to make sure the fuel pump was working, operating properly. It was turning on, because you can hear it. It sounds a little bit loud, like it wasn't really moving fluid, but we confirmed that it is by pulling the feed line off directly from the fuel hat going into the fuel feed line. I don't know about pressure, but we had flow. And so what we're gonna do now is disassemble our filter, which is the next item in line before the fuel gets to the fuel rail, to see if there's any issue there and figure out why we're not getting fuel all the way to fuel rails. So we're gonna do that, and then we'll proceed to the next step, which is starting it. Trying again.
This one's regular return, which is completely dry. Also dry-ish. I don't know. This says out on this side at least, so I know that part's correct.
I'm not gonna put it. There we go. Fuel pressure. All right. There we go. Case of the old switcheroo, and we got it. All right, so we found our fuel feed issue. Fuel pressure regulator inlet and outlet were reversed. We have fixed it. We have fuel pressure at the fuel rail. Now we're gonna try to attempt to start again. Nothing. No ignition spark. So I don't have power here. That's not good. Okay. So I'm not getting coil power. All right, so ignition coils were not happening. I put a spark plug in it to see if we had ignition coils firing, and we had no ignition coil power, and we've got a blown fuse. All right, need a fuse. Good. Hey, we got power. Hopefully when I plug this in, it doesn't short out. Still fire. This thing's firing now. Yes. Oh, there we go. Wow. Okay. Well. Pop the fuse.
What's that?
Pop the fuse.
Oh.
So.
Something shorting the ground.
Yeah. Bro, if it's these coils, I'm gonna be so mad. I got nothing else here. Our power feed to the ignition system keeps blowing its fuse. So, one of the ignition coils is bad, or there's some sort of short in the harness. I'm just gonna disconnect all 8 coils on both banks and crank the engine over again. That's it. Okay. Well, nothing. Yeah, so the fuse didn't blow on the ignition circuit with all of our coils disconnected. So instead of just going one by one and checking each one, I'm gonna take all 8 off of here and put 8 known good coils on it, and then we'll try to start the engine. Well, luckily, drift car's here, so we can just pillage all of my parts off of it. Yay. Oh yeah. This is my LS3 powered 350Z drift car. If you haven't seen any of the content on it, go back and watch some of the episodes. They're kind of early on. Got some exhaust building episodes, some other stuff on the channel, I believe, too. So go check it out. Now we're gonna rob parts off of it. All right, well, got a set of known good coils on the engine, all 8, pulled them off my running car. So let's see if we get another issue with this fuse. I'm assuming that we're not. Those coils that I just pulled off of here, they were supposed to be AC Delco. They showed up, they were not AC Delco. They're some other whatever no-name brand. And when I opened them up, I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't gonna end well, and here we are. Trying to diagnose an ignition system issue. Well, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there. It's not blowing the ignition fuse anymore. So that's good. Still didn't get it to start, but it's okay. I'm gonna give it a little bit of throttle actuation while I'm starting it. And hopefully, maybe a little bit more air to the fuel air mix will help. What does that mean? Control module processor. That's not good. Not sure right now. All right, so we worked out a couple of our small issues, like our ignition coil problem and our fuel delivery problem. But as you can tell in the video, we still didn't get this thing fired up. I keep continuing to get a processor error from the ECU. I'm not sure if that's battery voltage related or some sort of internal circuit board error, but it's keeping us from getting this thing running. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait till the next episode while we work out all the kinks of trying to get this thing to run properly. So thanks for following along with us. Hopefully we can get it fired up on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you guys on the next episode.